made all the sense in the world. Small sports cars embodied the excitement of racing, of winners, of capturing the coveted checkered flag. It was actually Mrs. Snyder's idea, a checkered flag. It could be the name and the symbol for a new enterprise that would sell these tiny motor cars. Checkered Flag Motor Car Company.
He calls me up on the phone. This was John Copeland Jr. He says, well, we can get it. I said, we can get what, John? What are you talking about? He said, we can get that franchise. We get Jaguar, and we get Austin Healey, and we get MG. I said, really? So anyhow, I go to the bank and I borrow $10,000. That time, $10,000 was all the money in the world, particularly since I borrowed it. I didn't want to lose it, that was for sure. Little did I know at the time that any dealer could have gotten the franchise, that they'd been looking for a dealer for over a year and no one wanted it. No one would take it. So, I mean, they finally found somebody stupid enough to do it.
Self-effacing humor from a man who others thought visionary, a quiet, mild-mannered entrepreneur with a flair for merchandising.
They were pioneers, certainly. It's to Ed's credit. I think that that shows sporting nature of Ed founding the company.
From British sports cars to introducing other foreign imports with funny little names like Toyota. It took more than vision. It took guts.
Well, in the beginning, Ed took a lot of ridiculing from other car dealers because of trying to sell Japanese cars in this market.
You know, but Eddie held in there and he had the vision. You know, he felt that if we put the car on the street, people would buy it, and they loved it.
Ed was a visionary.
They say you cannot separate the values of a man from the values he instills in his company. And so it is. The values that Ed Snyder grew up with and learned from his father and his family's department store were deep-seated in his DNA.
Many of the dealers looked at the car business as a sort of a one-shot transaction. You're going to sell someone a car one time, you probably will never sell them another one. And that was completely opposite to my outlook on it. I wanted to sell them a car and then every other car they ever bought for the rest of their lives. I used to have a kind of a joke about it. And the last car I'm going to sell them is a hearse.
So, I mean, we always had a close relationship with our customers.
That's what he tried to instill in us.
So it was always about take care of the customer, do the right thing for the customer, merchandise correctly, no hidden things in merchandise. And we'd sit down and do advertising together. He'd say, I don't want that small print. I don't want any of this 20% off. 20% off of what means nothing.
50 years of stories of customer care. And that one other most important ingredient.
When the employees are happy, everybody's happy. Customers get happy, and I get happy.
One of the things I was most proud of, when I retired, the average tenure of my management staff was 16 years.
I had people working with me that had been with me the 20, 30 years. Had a salesman at Toyota that's been there over 30, unusual.
He was a great man to work for. In fact, to this day, I think Eddie is one of my biggest mentors.
Mr. Snyder over the years has done a lot of great things for the employees.
I can give you an example. Back in the 70s when there were gas restrictions, every Friday he had let all the employees pull their car up to the tank and we got gas. Just those kind of things.
Ed made a point, I think, of being straight with people.
He established credibility right from the get-go. I mean, when he told you something, you could put it in the bank.
The integrity's always been there with him. He'll never make a promise that he can't keep.
You could probably ask every single person that comes in here if you were going to say, what is the one thing, the one pet peeve that Ed has?
I can spot one that's cockeyed a mile away.
And what are you going to say?
No, I wouldn't say a mile, but I can sure foresee them when they're wrong.
The label on the back of the car, that it has to be in a perfect.
It has to be perfect.
Oh, no question about it.
And that's attention to detail.
I guess they think I have an obsession about this, which I do, I guess. And when it's wrong, and I don't want it wrong. I mean, if you can't put the emblem on right, how the hell are you going to fix the car?
It's just a good organization. Mr. Snyder is one of a kind. And I think he's known that way in the community, too. And he's very fortunate that his son's there following in his footsteps.
In fact, his son, Stephen, who's president of the company now, he brought him in at a very early age and let him work in the different departments. If they're both around in the dealership, they're always together, you know.
Honesty, integrity, giving back. The value of treating employees and customers with respect and kindness. These were the values that were manifest well over 100 years ago at a family department store called L. Snyder's. And for the past 50 years, these have been the values of the Checkered Flag family. Wow, 50 years. So what about the next 50 years?
I think it's going to just be gangbusters from here on out. We've got the thing really rolling now, and I'm extremely optimistic. As to what we will achieve, well, that's going to be up to Steve's outfit, but everybody's driving a used car, so and everybody wants a new one. So it's just a case of switching them over.